How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Patriot DIY channel. As you can see, I recently had a full dump truck load of tree trunks delivered here. I'm going to be cutting it up for firewood, but I quickly realized that I don't have anywhere to put all this firewood. So in this video, we're going to be showing you how to build a firewood shed. All right, guys, in my last video, you saw that I did build a lean-to back here on the back of my shop. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link to it right here at the top of the screen. But today we're showing you how we turn that lean-to into a firewood shed. And I'll give you a quick little recap of what that project looked like. Now today we are in the process of turning that lean-to into a firewood shed, and we're going to show you step by step how we're doing that. But first, guys, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. Let's get to building. All right, guys, we're gonna need a floor for our firewood shed. So the first thing we need to do is start cutting lumber for the frame of our floor. Once we've got everything cut, we'll go ahead and lay it out on the floor and start assembling our frame. A 90-degree angle clamp came in handy for this part. Now we're going to get it outside and get it fitted into place and make sure everything's nice and level. And I did have a little help for this part. And since this is being attached to an existing structure, once we have the frame in place and leveled, we're going to be using our hammer drill and some Tapcon bolts to attach it to the concrete foundation. Now we can check level on the front and fasten it to the post on our lean-to. All right, guys, just want to show you how I fixed a little mistake I made. This furthest post here was about 1.25 inches further away from the wall than the other side. So my platform that I made didn't quite reach, so I just made an 1.25 inch spacer and put in there and use long enough screws to get through both into this 4x4. Not perfect, but it should work out just fine. Now we're going to fit some 2x4s for the back of the shed. Now these aren't going to be structural, they're just so we can attach our siding later. Now we can start cutting down the decking boards for the floor of our firewood shed, and we're going to be doing that on our miter station. If you haven't seen the build video for that, I will put a link to that right here at the top of the screen. And now we're ready to put those decking boards in place. We're just going to be using our jigsaw to notch out around the post. And because we want to leave a gap between each board, we're just going to be using a couple nails as spacers. And I think it's coming together great. Only thing left to do now is get our walls up. For the walls of our shed, we're going to be using these picket fence boards. And because we want to make sure it has nice airflow so that our firewood can dry out easily, we're going to start out here using one of our siding boards as a spacer so that we can leave that gap. And right about here is where I decided I wanted a little bit smaller gap. So I switched out and started using 2x4s for the gaps instead of the picket fence board. This process goes pretty fast. It's just a couple screws in each side, especially if you have a little help. And because I thought it looked nice, we're gonna go ahead and put in these angled 2x4s. Honestly, it's mostly for looks, but it does add some structural integrity as well. Let me just show you guys what I got going on here before we get too far. Now we are gonna be doing a back wall on this as well, so our firewood isn't pressed up against the side of the building. So what we ended up doing was ripping a 2x4 in half, and I screwed that in here to this 2x4, and all that's doing is giving us a place to attach these back boards here. And then in the center, we just made a T with two 2x4s. That's going to give us to a place to attach here, and we're also going to be able to do a center dividing wall between these two pieces. I wanted to make sure I left the gap in the siding so we got good airflow so that wood can dry out good. So I'm just using 2x4s as spacers to get the correct spacing between each one. And so far so good. Now we're just going to finish getting those backboards in place. and then go ahead and build a dividing wall. The main reason for that is to give some extra support to our stacks of firewood, and also gives us the opportunity to separate green wood from seasoned wood. I did go back in and add a couple extra 2x4s in behind those back boards just to give those a little bit more support. And that's pretty much it, guys. The only thing left to do now is fill it up with some firewood. All right, guys, that is it for how to build your own firewood shed. As you can see, we're still working on getting all this firewood cut up and put into place in our shed. I hope you like what you saw. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave that in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.